Good evening. Tonight, an entire region of the country remains in the grip of a crisis. Large areas are paralyzed. People are suffering. The death toll is rising, and patience is already running out because some of the mechanisms of a civilized society aren't working. Put it this way, in New York City, the biggest city in the country, people can't find gasoline. And some people in the city today lined up to go through dumpsters of discarded food and groceries from stores because they have no power or water and need food. And some of the stores, what they still have is still good, though it needed to be thrown out. And since you're going to hear the memory of Katrina invoked more and more in these coming days, like Katrina, 3 days out, here we are still learning of places that have received very little help, very little attention, like Staten Island, New York, within sight of the city skyline. NBC's Ann Curry starts off our team of correspondents. She's on Staten Island tonight. Ann, good evening.
Brian, good evening to you. That's right. Outrage boiled over here in New York City, Staten Island, because more than 3 days after the hurricane here, people who are from this close-knit blue-collar community accuse government agencies of responding much slower here than to wealthier parts of the city.
Every single person on this block lost everything.
Staten Island has had enough.
We just want everyone to know that we are hurting down here and we need help immediately.
Residents here are asking, why hasn't more help arrived?
I think that we're not getting the attention because we are, we are a working class neighborhood and kind of just like fend for yourselves kind of thing.
On the debris-strewn streets of this community, where the death toll has risen to at least 19, today fury and frustration played out on live television.
But you need to come here and help us. We need assistance, please.
Staten Island's borough president called it an absolute disgrace.
American Red Cross was nowhere to be found. So all the American Red Cross, all these people making these big salaries should be out there on the front line, and I am disappointed.
The Red Cross says it's sending 10 vehicles with food and water. Meantime, residents and officials are questioning the city's priorities.
The city of New York right now is talking about getting water out of the Battery Tunnel and preparing for a marathon. We're pulling bodies out of water. You see the disconnect here?
Today, New York City police and fire departments were still going house to house to account for everyone who didn't follow the mandatory evacuation order. Can you look me straight in the eye and say that the response was not disproportionate for places that were more wealthy in New York City?
Absolutely not. We brought everybody in. There's been FEMA task forces that have been assigned here now and, assisting us with the searches.
We are in the community talking to the residents that's been affected, and we're urging everybody to register with FEMA.
I never planned to leave here. I thought I was going to stay here the rest of my life.
Phyllis Puglia didn't lose any members of her family, but she did lose virtually everything else.
I want to go home, but there's no home. I can't go home, and that's killing me. It's breaking my heart. I want to go home to my house.
At 62 and a grandmother, she is trying to find traces of her life.
This is the only wedding photograph of my mom.
A moment of joy as the water on Staten Island recedes amid widespread desperation and grief. And adding to the sadness here, the bodies of two small children, ages 2 and 4, who were ripped from their mother's arms during the hurricane. Well, they were found. The bodies were found today. And also, we should probably tell you that the mayor, we asked him about the outrage here in Staten Island, and we are awaiting his response, Brian.
Ann Curry in Staten Island. Just for a little perspective, people not familiar with the city, you can just about see where Ann is from the top of 30 Rockefeller Plaza in Midtown Manhattan. These are all areas rather close together, and a lot of people are rethinking that decision to hold the New York City Marathon this coming weekend. Ann, thanks.